Hello, this is Jamaica Piper, Education and Humanities Librarian, and today I will be talking about how to use AI to find the best publishing opportunities for your research. Let's get started. One of the first problems that you have if you're new to publication is where do you publish? Tried and true advice normally is publish where you read, but if you're interdisciplinary, that advice might not work because you're reading across multiple fields. So AI can be a very useful way to go ahead and get started and to generate lists within your primary field. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So this is the first way. I'm just going to have run a broad search with the AI tool. As you can see, there is my prompt question about what are the top Q1 and Q2 journals within the field of education. And I just want to point out, Q1 and Q2 is not necessary, and it's not going to be the same for every discipline. There's a lot of niche publications out there that will not necessarily be indexed because they're so small and niche. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and let this run. And here we have our results. Of course, it has a little caveat about there not being an official ranking and being subject to different years, which is true. But here is a general list of what we considered some of the top tier journals within this disciplinary field. Of course, as it goes on, here's our top Q2 rank journals in the field. And that was the first way. I'm going to show you the second way. You can also find relevant journals. In the second way, you see that I've also modified my question or prompt here. Instead of focusing just on Q1 and Q2 in education, I'm actually adding a topic, which is something I might be doing research in. In this case, research centering Black women in higher education leadership. So I'm going to go ahead and run it. Okay, and now we can see here how that shaped the list, giving a more narrow focus of journals that would be excellent fits or very strong fit for my theoretical research alignment. And it gives, of course, a little bit of the manuscript angle that I would need in order to be successful in publishing these. So those are two ways. I'm going to show you a third. Okay, what I'm showing you here is you can really just take an abstract if you've already got one fully written, and you can just ask it what journals might be a good fit for this abstract. And I'm going to go ahead and run it. We'll see how that changes our list. Now we can see here that based off of my abstract, it sort of expanded the pool of potential journals that might best fit. And you can see here again how it's rating the fit here, as well as why, and then what kind of revisions based off of this abstract might be needed. So this has been 3 ways in which you can use AI to identify some target journals. And now I'm going to move on to actually discussing journal verification. So it's always important that you know the quality of the journal before you submit. And there's a lot of ways that you can go about identifying it. So I'm just going to assume that you're having some version of this where you're getting a lot of emails from individuals whose journals sound maybe authentic, or they sound like things that you've heard of. That is intentional and kind of a sign of predatory journals, and so we can always just also use AI to check that too. I'm going to show you how. All I'm going to do is I'm going to ask the AI to apply the Think, Check, Submit framework. This is a framework published by many industry publishers as a conglomeration of red flags, if you will, of that a journal might be predatory. You can always go and look at this link and check it out yourself if you're unfamiliar with it. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm actually going to run this, and we're going to see what it says. And as you can see, here is how to classify the journal. It's questionable or high risk. And again, that's based off of several factors, and so it goes into more detail in this report about what specific factors are areas of concern, most of which has to do with transparency around the editorial practice and fees, as well as sort of the copyright piece. So also issues with the indexing, which is true. This journal was delisted in 2024. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time reading it to you, but I just wanted you to see conclusively how it handled that. And here's the actual checklist pieces and then the assessment, right, about where it failed and why it's an area of concern. So I just want to show you that. I'm going to take a pause here. And I just want to remind folks that journal verification doesn't have to be done in AI. There are several tools available that you can self-check with, and here's a quick list. This is not all of them. This is just more if you wanted to sort of have a quick application of a specific journal that you're working with. But long term, if you want to know more for yourself, you're more than welcome to check out any of these sites, plus the actual Think, Check, Submit list as well. All right, now we're on to the third issue that we might see when we're trying to submit for journals, which is about our abstract. I have two different things that are kind of related. I'm going to start with abstract refining. So if you have an abstract and you think that or a call for proposals that you think your abstract fits, but you think it needs some tweaks, this is kind of where you might want to use this strategy or use AI. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. And just so you can see kind of what I'm pasting in here into the AI, I'm just asking it if it can assess if this CFP, now it might not be able to pull it, and if it can't, I'll go and I'll copy the text and put it in. But if this specific CFP is a good fit for my proposed project, and this is the start of my proposed project, okay, and I'm going to go ahead and let it run. Okay, so it was not able to pull from the CFP, so I went ahead and I grabbed the full text of the CFP and I had to rerun the assessment. And now, as you can see, by making sure that it had access to the full CFP, it's able to tell me that this is actually not a good fit, right? And it tells me a little bit about specific priorities from within the CFP, and then it aligns it with what I put into my proposed abstract. And you can see here where the mishmashes are, which is really good. So in this case, I wouldn't bother submitting this particular abstract to this particular CFP. You can see there, it gives me a little overall fit rating. And so this could save me time if I need to have multiple submissions out. So there you are. And I have one more thing I want to show you, which is, again, somewhat similar, but coming from more of like proposal alignment. So give me one second here. So basically what that really was this, which is the proposal alignment. If my particular abstract had been really good or good enough, it would have given me some more information about how I could strengthen my abstract to make sure I get to be successful in that submission. In this case, that's when, maybe I don't need the CFP, but I need to do a proposal alignment. So maybe I have multiple CFPs that I'm also trying to go for, or I have multiple journals that I'm also applying for. And so now I'm going to show you how to triage that. So give me one second here. Okay, so for the proposal alignment, you'll see here that I'm starting with, I have a different abstract from the one I just used. So this is my model abstract. This one is about Black women in senior leadership positions in higher education. And I went and I've handpicked various CFPs that are related to the topic. And so we'll see now what it says in terms of the fit. Now, it's looking like this is actually a really strong alignment. So I was able to pull everything from the links this time. And it's telling me, again, the likelihood of publication with if I was to pursue and submit this particular abstract to these particular calls. And they even caught the fact that some of them have already closed. Since I'm just doing this as an example, I don't really care about that, but just so you can see, here's kind of how it goes through the alignment, why it's strong, what I'm doing really well, at least with this within this abstract, um, and then what are some of the weaknesses within my abstract if I wanted to apply for this journal that I would need to fix, and that's going to be different depending on the focus of the initial journal, which is why this is really kind of a helpful exercise. So that was the first thing you could do, and that was again using direct CFPs. But now, what if you're just using like, I just know about these 3 journals that might be a fit for my work, and you're trying to decide between those. Just so you can see, I'm asking the exact same question, except I'm highlighting the potential journals. I have, I think, 3 of them here, and it's the exact same topic prompt. And so we're going to go ahead and let this run. And as you can see here, it again gives me a clear rank about where I would probably most likely want to publish. In this case, the Journal of African American Women in Girls in Education would be the best fit, very close. I only need a little bit of sharpening. If I wanted to push it, I could also try for signs, but that would require a lot of theoretical reframing of the topic. And of course, I probably wouldn't want to go for the Journal of Blacks in Higher Education just because it's not a good fit there. So you can see that has been 2 different ways I could approach proposal realignment if I was looking to publish. And so I think that's everything I really wanted to say for today. If you have any questions, you can always email me on piperg@iu.edu. Thank you for your time and attention. Goodbye.